And when you couple that with the idea that the Fed is buying Treasury bills, what does this mean for inflation by the end of this year? Because some people are saying that prices of everything is going to at least double, and if not, we may move into a Weimar Republic situation where hyperinflation just keeps on taking off. I mean, we could be looking at $5,000 to buy a roll of toilet paper.
Well, we are headed towards Weimarization or Zimbabweization. There's no question. And that inflation should start next month or the month after showing up in the figures. And that's going to continue on until some point when it stops. And I don't know. You'll know when you get there. But
okay, we got a 4-minute break. We're going to be right back. And I also want to ask, how do they manipulate the market? I want to know. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. 4-minute break.
Well, maybe you used to be.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Welcome back to the Monday edition of the Power Hour. This is Dave.
And Joyce, thank you for joining us in the Power Hour today. Now, we're going to talk about market manipulation and derivatives and the price of gold in just a second. But a question I've got, because I have said many times that I believe that the pensions of the U.S. government are basically controlled by AIG. Now, many sources have told me this, and many people have said, no, that's not true. Some have said, but they don't offer any proof of it, and also we don't offer any proof that they are held. However, the question is could that have been a rumor started just to get people to invest in AIG because they think that, above all, AIG will be sustained more than any other company if that is in fact true? And my question to you, Bob, is to Bob Chapman, the editor of the International Forecaster newsletter, do you have any information on whether or not the AIG pensions, or the AIG holds the pensions for the U.S. government? I
don't know.
So we don't know.
I've looked into it, and I cannot find out. But I tell you the reasons why they've done what they've done. First of all, the AIG, American International Group, was formed in the late 1930s, which is Star Corporation, and it was used by the OSS during the war as a cover for OSS people going into different countries.
Ooh.
And it then, of course, in 1948, it became the CIA, and so they continued to use AIG as a cover and as a paymaster and a money launderer. And then on top of that, all of the people involved in AIG were all counsel and foreign relations people. And so that's how the edifice became so big. It became the largest insurance company in the world. And as you know, Maurice Greenberg is one of the top people at the Council on Foreign Relations. And I understand from my sources in New York City, which are very, very good, they say that Greenberg is still running the company out of Panama from Star.
So this is kind of an evergreen kind of thing, right?
Right. And the second thing is they were just buried in derivatives and they were running naked. In other words, you came along and you had $1 million worth of GM bonds and you wanted to buy some insurance. So you bought some credit default swaps from AIG, and they charged you for that, and you have your insurance. The problem is that AIG didn't produce any insurance. They pocketed the premiums and walked away. In other words, their contract on their side of the contract was naked. And that's why there's this big problem. Lehman was in the same boat. They cleared that up. They cleared up Bear Stearns. But there's piles of minefields out there like this, especially at J.P. Morgan Chase and Goldman Sachs and Deutsche Bank and these other major entities, owners of the Federal Reserve System. And you're going to continue to see one scandal after another. I mean, the derivatives alone are worth on a nominal basis between 600 trillion and 1.25 quadrillion, depending upon whose estimates you take.
Okay, let's
no matter which way you cut it, it's a lot of money.
Okay, what is a derivative, first of all?
It's a bet on something that has an underlying value. And in this case, I gave you, it was the GM bonds. You got the bonds, and you want to do a credit default swap, which is a derivative, which is actually a piece of insurance. This is a large bookmaking operation.
A large bookmaking operation. Well, the derivative market, they say, or you have said, has not even been touched yet. And I would like to follow up with that after this break. We're going to bring on Ted Anderson to find out what's happening in the gold and silver market. But also market manipulation. On Mondays, you say it's always up. They manipulate it. And when I talk to people about this and I say the market's manipulated, they say, how do they do that? And I say, I'll ask Bob Chapman on Monday. We'll be right back after this 3-minute break. Stay tuned to the Power Hour. And let's get back to...
I think the general philosophy here is people are starting to realize that there's a difference between protecting your interests and protecting your assets. And I think this is exactly what Ted was trying to say. You know, we're moving away from, don't worry about, having an interest-bearing account. Right now, just hold on to what you've got.
That's right.
It's very important.
I'm going to open up the phone lines. If you would like to talk to Bob Chapman, 800-259-9231. I know we get slammed with phone calls every time he's on, so get in there first. If you have a question or comment, 800-259-9231. I want to get this question out about manipulation of the market. Now, we say this a lot. But how do they do it? How are they? Do they, the market manipulators, buy stocks and bonds? Do they sell them off? What happens to manipulate the market, Bob Chapman?
Each day, 24 hours a day, they have a group called the Working Group in Financial Markets, which was created by executive order under Ronald Reagan in August of 1988. And that group, which has its counterparts all over the world, manipulates the market as the Treasury sees fit. It's also called the Plunge Protection Team. The other group is the Federal Reserve. What the Federal Reserve does is if the economy needs money, they create it. And how they do that is they call upon other banks within the Fed circle, and there's the 12 FOMC banks, and then there's the others within the Fed system, and they put out a call for Treasury paper, and they'll say, we want to buy $10 billion worth, and the orders will come in and say, well, we just sold you $1 billion worth, and the Fed credits the account of the bank and debits itself. The problem is the debit doesn't mean anything because there isn't any money there. So again, they're creating money out of thin air, and they take this credit entry, and each day, early in the morning, they have a conference call with their 21 dealers, which are brokerage firms, and they instruct them each day who's going to do what in the market. Goldman Sachs, you're going to go in the bond market and make sure the yields continue to come down by buying more bonds. And I'll go into the details. And you over at Merrill Lynch, it's your day to buy the indexes to make NASDAQ, S&P, and the New York Stock Exchange and indexes go up. And then they go over to J.P. Morgan Chase, and they say, well, you're so good at depressing gold and silver prices, that's your job for today. And each one is told how much money they've got to spend for the day.
This is amazing. I mean, I cannot imagine that this can all, I mean,
Can you imagine we even have a Federal Reserve in the first place? I mean, what insanity.
No, that's true. That's true. Absolutely. Hey, let me go to the callers here. They're backing up. Aaron in Texas. Aaron, you're the first-time caller from Texas. Aaron, you're on with our guest today, Bob Chapman. Go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. I was actually looking to see about investing into gold and silver. Now that I've saved up some money, I'm not quite sure how to do it. So could you offer some points as to how to get involved? I do know that I don't want to get involved in the sort of e-certificates, electronic certificates that say that I have gold, but I can't physically see it.
Right,
so
right.
Do you
okay.
have any
Let's go to Bob
advice?
Chapman. Bob Chapman, investing in gold and silver 101.
Joyce, to make it very simple, give out Ted's phone number at Midas for him to call.
Okay, 800-686-2237.
Yeah.
And tell them that you want Gold Investing 101 or Silver Investing. Tell them you've never done it before. Walk me through it, because that would be the easy way to find out about it, and I'm sure that they will help you out. And I would definitely get the International Forecaster newsletter, theinternationalforecaster.com.